The Deputy Chief Executive of Rusal, Artem Volynets, is with me in the studio today. A very good day, but something of a disappointing day or not?
I think it's a reasonable outcome. As you correctly mentioned, we need to look at peer performance, and since the pricing day last Thursday, we've done considerably well.
That said, I mean, this money goes to paying down debt, and you've been restructuring your debt. Any chance you're going to be issuing more shares anytime in the near future?
We don't expect to do so. Given the IPO proceeds and high cash flows that Rusal is currently generating, we are reasonably comfortable that we'll meet our debt obligations in time, if not earlier.
And your debt is down to about $15 billion US. How low would you like to see that go?
It was 14.7 before IPO proceeds. Now it's going to 12 something. And from that on, we will work out through the operating cash flows.
The restrictions to retail investors didn't just stop at being allowed to take part in the IPO, or not allowed to take part. The board lot as well is 24,000 shares, so it would cost you about $30,000 US minimum investment in Rusal. I mean, does that concern you? Would you like to see the stock more liquid?
As today's performance demonstrates, our key investors are large institutional funds which understand the sector, which invest in our comparables companies worldwide. And those, by the way, haven't seen a significant volatility in trading today. All the key investors that were allocated stock were holding on to that, which is a very good indicator in our view. And therefore, we do not believe that any restriction had any impact.
So you need no plans to split the stock, for example, to make it more liquid?
We are here to obey the rules. We will do whatever we are told by the regulators.
OK, fair enough. You have to do that. Now, as regards other Russian companies coming to the Hong Kong market, your chief executive, Oleg Deripaska, said that he thinks this will be the start of a trend. Do you know of any Russian companies planning a Hong Kong IPO? Over
the last 2 months, I'm getting a call a week or every 2 weeks from Russian, Kazakh, or Ukrainian companies interested in this market, because we do believe that Rusal listing here really opens up an alternative market for the companies in our country, in our region. And it is a very interesting and promising opportunity which many companies are looking to explore.
Care to name any of those companies?
I think they should follow the proper process and apply to Hong Kong Stock Exchange.
But you think quite soon we may get some more Russian IPOs? The interest is that high?
There is a very high level of interest, and certainly it should.
As for the fundamentals of Rusal, clearly you depend a lot on aluminium prices, which have been softening off so far this year. What's your outlook for aluminium this year?
We are very happy with the outlook. Fundamentally, it's driven by the supply and demand. Last year, China growth supported the demand. The growth went on to other parts of the world outside China in last quarter of 2009. Our key sectors are transport and construction. Those sectors were most hit during 2009 recession, and those sectors are recovering very strongly now. So we see strong end-user demand. We see restocking of the global supply chain. And China, the key driver of global economy, is expected to grow by CIU by 15% in demand for aluminium. Oh. So that's very encouraging signs.
Right. I mean, China was literally restocking. It was filling its warehouses with raw materials, which it thinks it's going to need in the future. Now, we know that China has taken tentative steps to curb its growth. It may be getting a little out of hand. Is that going to affect your market at all?
Well, I think those steps are reasonable, because what we want to see is a steady steps. We don't want to see any further shocks, any bubbles. Therefore, we are quite confident in a gradual recovery in China, which continues, and in the rest of the world.
What about assets that you have around the world? For example, in Jamaica, I think your assets are essentially idle there. Will you be getting rid of those?
We have decided last year to be fully balanced. I do not produce more alumina than we require for our current operations. However, we have growth plans for an additional 1 million ton of aluminium capacity in Russia. And once we start up those operations, once we pay off the debt, we can use additional alumina capacity that we currently have idled.
So that suggests no asset sales planned at all?
No.
Acquisitions?
Any company in our industry is good if it's A, low operating cost, B, low capex cost, and C, can grow both through organic projects and through non-organic projects. We do believe that Rusal did pretty good on all 4 categories, so we would continue to do so.
If you did decide to make a major acquisition and you did need financing, I know you're saying that you don't need to do that just yet and you've got enough cash flow being generated, but if you were to do that, I mean, would you be coming back to Hong Kong, or what about London? I mean, has London, which was an important market for Russian companies wanting to raise money, has that fallen off the radar at all?
Well, Hong Kong is a very important market to us because it is in the center of our future growth strategy. We are the largest aluminium producer. China is the largest aluminium consumer. Our nearest smelter takes the same time to fly from Beijing to it than from Beijing to Hong Kong. We are very much an Asian company. 80% of our assets are in Asia. Therefore, for us being here, it is a very important strategic direction. I don't think that any market in the future can be written off as in terms of the capital raising. But we are happy with our presence here, and we will continue to look to Hong Kong to support our future activities.
Okay, and just very briefly, the legal issues surrounding Rusal, any concerns with those? Will they be resolved?
They're all properly described in the prospectus, and we don't see any issues.
Okay, Artem Volynets, Deputy Chief Executive of Rusal, thank you very much indeed for your time today.